Okay. Rabbosai, this morning, in terms of Pesach, what we're going to be learning today is a sugya which I think is central to the entire holiday Pesach, as for starters. But I believe it also will answer a question which many of you have posed to me throughout the year, which is, why in fact do we spend so much time learning Gemara? After all, if we want to learn halacha, I understand, it's what you got to do. Why are we spending so much time learning Gemara? I believe this sugya will help us understand better why it is we learn Gemara. Yes? Yes, Benjamin? Yes, it will. Let us begin. When it comes to Pesach, Rabbosai, I'm going to ask you now to help me out. When it comes to Pesach, how many isurim are there when it comes to chametz? How many are there? Let's begin. What isurim are there? Aryeh?
You shouldn't, don't eat it.
You cannot eat it. Number one, there is the isur achila. You're not allowed to eat chametz. Good. Number two, what else? Yeah, Yitzi?
Isur hana.
Hana. You can't get benefit from chametz. Good. Number three. Keep on going.
Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse.
You can't see it.
You're not allowed to see it. Okay. In other words, there's a lot of which by the way is one or two lavin? Two separate lavin. We're going to put them together. Well, put them separate. Which literally, Jesse, you're correct, means you're not allowed to see. And additionally, Bali Matzeh, which means you're not allowed to find. Both of which, however, essentially indicate that you're not allowed to, in one word, own chametz. Correct. What else do we have when it comes to chametz? We're not done yet, by the way. Keep on going. What else do we have when it comes to chametz? What other mitzvahs are involved with chametz? Anyone? Aryeh?
To destroy the night before.
Excellent. The mitzvah of tashmisu. The mitzvahs say to destroy your chametz. That's called tashmisu. You're right, I did. My bad. All mitzvahs related to chametz. Is that better? Yes. Fine. One more. Now we do Rabbanan. Aryeh? Excellent. We know we do Rabbanan. You have to look for your chametz. What we call okay. This is our essential list of 6 different things that we have when it comes to chametz. Now, the obvious question, Rabbosai, which you have to ask yourself every single year is, what's the obvious question? Come on, guys. Fuchs. What's the obvious question? Why all these isurim? Thank you. You said so cutely. Why all these isurim? Why is it that when it comes to chametz, more so than other isurim, do we have such an exhaustive list of prohibitions as well as mitzvahs and how we relate to chametz? What is so unique about chametz that it has all these prohibitions? So let's take a guess. Who wants to make a suggestion? Why is chametz so much worse than everything else?
It doesn't really show out it's exactly unique, but it may limit other things. It's a few cards. So.
Excellent. So for starters, you might say, well, chametz after all is more severe than other isurim. It's an isur kares. Kares, we know, it's not just a regular law, Fuchs. It's not just a chiyuv malchus. It's a chiyuv kares. And as a chiyuv kares, therefore it gets certain chumras. Why might one reject that as a reason to have all these isurim? What's a good reason to argue, Jesse?
There are many other.
Beautiful. There are many other Isurim Kares as well that do not have this exhaustive list. Such as, what's a good example of an Isur Kares? Yeah, Gabi? Eating on Yom Kippur is an Isur Kares. Do you have the same list on eating on Yom Kippur? Do you have to look for all food to make sure you get rid of all food before Yom Kippur? Not at all. Good, yeah. Benjamin? One second. We're going to wait. Excuse me. Please sit down. We started. Toby? Number 1, you're late. Number 2, we already started. Please sit quiet. Thank you. Yeah. He's not in the class. So, it's okay. Okay. Yeah, you had a question.
Do you get
Do you get cards for what?
for all of those?
No, you don't get cards for all those. You only get cards for both. Which one? Excellent. You only get cards for the Akila. This is cards. Very good. When it comes to the rest of these things, they're all... 1 second, we'll wait. We'll wait for quiet. For the rest of these things, they're only lavin. We'll discuss later on today exactly what the punishments are and how many punishments you get for all these yisurim, but the rest of these are lavin. This, of course, is the mitzvah say. This, of course, is only going to be the rabbanan. But when it comes to the achilah, that's the only one which is kares. Very good question from Yami. Okay, so again, you can't just tell me that it's because it's kares, because other things are kares as well, and you do not find such chumras by them. So why then, again, do we ask, is chametz so much more machmir than other things? What would you tell me? Anybody other suggestions? No other suggestions? Yitzi again, another suggestion. Why is chametz so much worse than everything else? So that might be... So Yitzi points out that the isur is b'mashu. Anyone know what that means? That the isur is b'mashu? Dovi? Even a mashu of chametz, we spoke about this in Makos, right? We spoke... You don't need a kazayas. You violate the isur even if you only have a small amount. That's correct, but first of all, is that true in the Raisa? Sorry?
Is that applied to value?
No, it does not. It does
You're allowed to own
Technically, yes. It's a discussion that we showed him, but technically, yes. But again, this Ramashu also is not necessarily a reason why it's more machmer. That's actually another manifestation of being more machmer. So that can't be the reason why. That's just another example as to why. That's actually what Rashi says. Rashi Pesachim actually says the reason why a person violates the Isser eating chametz, even when, not that Rashi, Gabi, no, a different Rashi. Sorry for distracting you by this Rashi. We'll get to this Rashi in just a moment. But the reason why you actually can violate eating chametz even by having just a minuscule amount, Rashi says that, and Tosfos as well, they say it's based on this principle called chumras de chametz. The Rabbanan just saw that chametz is machmir, is more machmir than anything else. So the fact that you violate the Isser even having a small amount is another example of chumras de chametz, showing that chametz is more machmir than other isurim. But here, the question still is why. So, one second, alright, the Radvaz in a tshuva asks this question. And he goes through a lot of the things we went through we just went through ourselves. Number one, he says, oh, maybe it's kares. Number two, but he rejects it because he says, well, chaylev is kares. Like Gabi said before, Yom Kippur is kares. But we don't have these prohibitions by that. He says maybe another idea, which is another possibility. Why are we so extra careful by chametz? Because all year round, we actually what? We actually eat chametz. Chametz is only also for 1 week. So the fact that we normally eat chametz throughout the year might indicate that it's more dangerous because it's so natural for us to eat chametz. So therefore, we have to have actual chumras. But he rejects that. You want to know why he rejects that? Yom Kippur is another example. What's another example of an Isser which is commonplace, but for a temporary amount of time it becomes Isser? Oh, already, beautiful. A Nazir. A Nazir makes a Nazirus. He's not allowed to eat wine. He's not allowed to consume any form of wine at all. But that's normal. He normally is allowed to consume wine. Let's say he makes a Nazirus for, what's the stam Nazirus for?
30 days.
30 days. A 30 days Nazirus. So for 30 days he's not allowed to have something which he otherwise would normally have. And that's enough of a reason to say that, is there a bedika? Does he have to search out his house for any wine?
No.
No, not at all. You don't have these prohibitions as well. So the Raz, and this is where we're going to pick up, we're going to start our primary sugya today. Says the Raz, he goes based on the Zohar. The famous Zohar, which we've all heard before, perhaps not as clearly knowing the source. The Zohar says, why are we so extra machmer by chametz? Because chametz symbolizes what, Rabosai?
Klipa.
Good. In other words, in basic terminology, chametz represents what?
Evil.
Yetzer hara. Says the Zohar that chametz represents Exa Yoshua. Says the Zohar that chametz represents the Yetzer hara, and as such, we have to. It's based on Kabbalah, but we'll see in a moment that. Excuse me, please do it with me. That the Zohar says that chametz is based on that chametz represents the Yetzer hara. We'll say why in a moment, and there we have to treat it as such. So what's this idea, guys? I'm sorry. We'll wait.
Talk.
Please stop. So Rabosai, we said so far that chametz is extra machmer than other things. Why might that be? The Radvaz says because it's dobi. Why? Again, because chametz is keneged the excellent dobi, the Yetzer hara. Because chametz is like the Yetzer hara. So this idea that chametz is like the Yetzer hara, first of all, says who? What does the Zohar mean by that? Obvious question which we'll have to address. But secondly, perhaps we can understand better if chametz is in fact keneged the Yetzer hara. Perhaps we can understand better not only why we're so machmir, but understand how being so machmir on chametz will help us understand better what, obviously?
Yetzer hara.
How to be machmir against our Yetzer hara. Exactly. So what we're going to do right now is begin a sugya. It's the sugya of bedikas chametz with the recognition in mind, in the back of our heads, how chametz is in fact keneged the Yetzer hara, and that might help us understand what we're going to see. So let's turn your attention to source number 1. We have it on the board. And that's, of course, the first Mishnah, Mesech Pesachim. What halacha does the first Mishnah say out? On the first Mishnah, what does it say? Ari, read it for us, please. What does it say? Of course, the basic mitzvah of Ari. B'dikas chametz. For many of us, it's going to be on Thursday night. I had to already do B'dikas chametz for the first time in my own room here. Already last night. It's for the last night that I was going to be here, most likely. I did B'dikas chametz already. B'dikas chametz. We have a mitzvah B'dikas chametz, meet the Rabbanan, to check out the chametz, to find it, and get rid of it, and so on. Now, Rabosai, we know the Gemara says that midaraisa, do you need b'dikas chametz?
No.
No, bittul b'al masagi.
Excellent, Yoshua. Bittul b'al masagi. Midoraisa, you don't need to b'dikas chametz. Midoraisa, all you need to do is be mevata your chametz. Just say